when you do these things like this on weekends, everybody afterwards wants to tell you a joke. So this 80-something-year-old man at Shaka Springs Baptist Assembly wants to tell me a joke, and I'm tired, and I'm sweaty, and I'm hot, and I think, oh, God, please give me the patience to, He tells me this joke. It's my favorite joke. In my entire life, it's my favorite joke. He said, Beth, there was this preacher, and said he witnessed to his congregation. He said, oh, Joe's wife died. They'd been married over 50 years, and said the preacher just knew Joe was depressed. So he went to visit Joe at his house, and he said, Joe, how in the world are you doing? And he said, well, preacher, I'm doing great. So what do you mean, Joe? He said, I'm doing great. I'm looking for me a woman. He said, I'm looking for a woman. He said, what in the world are you looking for in a woman? He said, preacher, I want one that's got it here, and I want one that's got it here, and I want one that's got it here. And the preacher said, what? He said, I want one that's got it here, one that's got it here, and one that's got it here. Preacher said, well, Joe, I know why you'd want one with a good mind, and I know why you'd want one with a pretty face, but why in the world would you want one with arthritis? My first job out of college was with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, kind of hard to say, but it's a great organization. I worked with them 10 years to the day. The American Cancer Society was in the same building with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And one Friday afternoon, I went out to my car, and there was an 11.5 by 14 glossy poster of a woman's breast on the car windshield. Now, it was National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which I believe is November, but it was on our car windshield, and the girl next to me said, well, what do you think about that? I said, honey, I just hope that next month is not colorectal cancer month. When I worked in Montgomery several years ago, I had an office that looked straight out over where DHR is across the street. And every Friday afternoon, I'd get the phone and I'd go, hi, listen, Beth Chapman is really abusing her kids. And somebody needs to come get them for the whole weekend. That's what And they'd go, oh, Miss Chapman, quit calling us. Whatever works. But my children were at the swearing-in ceremony with me the first time I won office. And, I'm a girl from Greenville, Alabama, a little town, and I'd always dreamed of doing something that'd be pretty exciting and fun. And I became state auditor, and we were up on this huge stage and podium. Miss Seaman's been there many times, and the governor's there, and all the senators are there, and the military's there, and the flags are raised. Oh, it's such an exciting day. Well, with my boys, even to this day, if I say do something and they talk back to me, but if I do this, if I raise my right hand and I say, so help me God, they go do whatever it is I told them to do. So, a lot of people go, when I count to 3, 1, 2, 3, you've heard them all, and they'll do it 500 times in a restaurant, and they do it, but so help me God. They scatter. So we're standing on the steps of the state capitol. Judge Patty Smith is there, and she's swearing me in. It's a big day, 8,000 people out in the streets, live television all over the state. I stand up, and Patty goes, I uphold the Constitution. I uphold the Constitution to the best of my ability, so help me God. I said, so help me God. My boys went. Very, very painful thing. Very painful thing. But we just got back from a cruise, the world's largest cruise ship. Yes, we did. It is an incredible, phenomenal place. They have 24 places that you can eat. Then they have the nerve to bring me a little thing that at the gym that day, learn how to flatten your stomach. I learned how. I just tuck it in the waistband of my pants and keep going. What you do on a cruise is you find the biggest woman on the boat, and then you just pal with her all week. And you just walk by and people go, oh, that one right there looks a little anorexic looking, So you just hang out with her. But the woman was standing there, and I said, James, we're just going to tell everybody. If anybody asks you, just tell them I have a glandular problem. And he said, Beth, the mouth is not a gland. The woman in front of me said, oh, I'm just going to get my stomach stapled when I get home. And I said, what, honey, to the buffet line? My mother is very interesting in that her mother started the Baptist church in Greenville, Alabama. My grandmother did. And my grandmother was a very, very feisty lady, and we called her Big Mama. My Big Mama weighed about 90 pounds wet. She would get her words mixed up a lot. You know, like I got a cat one time, and I said, "Hey, Big Mama, see my cat?" And she goes, "Are you going to get it noodled?" Not going to get it noodled. One day she was standing around, and she talked about all the men in the church that had prostate cancer. That was kind of interesting. When I was at college at the University of Montevallo, I don't remember because I'm not the best historian, but Libya did something. There was something going on with Libya. Well, my grandmother would sit in the church that she started. So because she was a charter member, she had free reign to do whatever she wanted to do, pretty much. And she was sitting there, and I came from college, and I kissed her on the cheek, and I sat next to her, and I put my arm around her, just loved my grandmother. She punches me, and in her whisper says, "Those lesbians are just going to take over this world." I'm like, "Libyans, Big Mama, Libyans." She thought she was whispering. The whole church heard her. Then everybody said, "You know, Beth went off to college and became a lesbian." Then there was a time that one of her friends had a car accident, a very serious car accident. Went over a 40-foot ravine, going about 70-something miles an hour, bad shape. And I said, "Well, Big Mama, how are they? They're going to be all right?" She said, "Well, I'm telling you right now, he's okay. He's in critical condition, but she is in bad shape. She's broken everything in her body. She's in such bad shape that they say she's probably going to be a paralegal for the rest of her life." See, you can't make this stuff up. I met Dolly Parton. I met her in Nashville at a women's conference, and you know how you put your hand around people and you get your picture made? Well, it was like this. I mean, this woman's waist is this big. So, of course, I couldn't help but oversee, you know, to look over. And it's very real, not real. It's it's a very realistic, unrealistic expectation that she has. So I've met Dolly Parton, okay, and it's just right here, and you can't really talk to her without noticing it. So a godly man from Selma, Alabama by the name of Dr. Henry Lyon was speaking on stage with me at Shaco Springs. And we were talking to a senior citizens group one weekend, and he preached this great sermon. And I mean, I really wish that I could preach, but I'm Baptist, so I can't. I'm just talking, okay? I'm not preaching, I'm just talking. But Brother Henry said, you know, he said, life is so hard. He said, you've either been in a valley, you're going to be in a valley, you know somebody in a valley. And he said, God takes us up mountains, and we go down the valley, but we always know that there's another mountain coming. Isn't that true? Somebody say amen, for goodness sake. I'm going to have to go to Pentecostal church and start talking. So Brother Henry Lyon says, and I'll tell y'all something, God is so good that you will never see two mountains without a valley in the middle of them. I said, well, Brother Henry, you never met Dolly Parton, have you? You heard about the three preachers. This is always a little chancy to tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway. It'll be like Big Mama, who used to say, that you shouldn't tell that. And then she'd leave the table and go, now tell me that again so I can tell Myrtle at the center next week. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the joke anyway. These four ministers died, and they went to heaven, and they wanted to get in heaven. And the rabbi, Jewish rabbi, said, St. Peter, would you please let me in heaven? He said, absolutely not. He said, you Jewish people, all you ever did was thought about money, money, money. You thought so much about money that you married a girl named Penny. You can't come into heaven. Well, next after that comes up the Catholic. Can I come into heaven? He goes, absolutely not. Why? He goes, well, all y'all did was drink, celebrated, party. He said, you thought so much about liquor that you married a girl named Brandy. Can't come in. So then he comes up to the Baptist preacher, and he says, well, we're Baptists. We're Southern Baptists. Surely we can get in. He goes, nope, you sure can't. He said, all you did was ate, dinners on the grounds, ate all the time, obsessed with eating. He said, no, you can't. You thought so much about eating, you married a girl named Candy. Methodist preacher looks at his wife and says, come on, Fanny, let's go.
You know, Jubilee for Jabbo, that's such a nice way of saying, God, you're old. You know, Jabbo, I mean, I was 4 years old when you started public service. Senator Cam Ward was not born, and Representative Kyle South was like -50. Have you ever really thought about that? You know, that painting of The Last Supper by Da Vinci. It was done in 1495. The guys, just picture it, the guy second to the right of Jesus, that's not the Apostle Peter, that's Jabbo. I mean, I hate to tell you, but the first check that came in for a sponsorship was the Alabama Nursing Home Association. You can clap, thank you. Here, speak up. Yeah, thank you. And not only that, but you think I'm joking, they had Marilyn and your kids back in the corner feeding them free food long before the food was served, giving them free drinks, casting lots on who's going to get you first. And I got news for you. Paul DeMarco's here. He's been watching you, hoping you're going to choke on an orange roll. Where's Paul? Yeah, I see you, Paul. Paul's turning red. Paul's usually olive skinned.